You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, you ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa, I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good morning. Welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. My name is Harry. We got a full house. We'll start with Robert in a new hat. I heard you were out and about last night in San Antonio.
Yeah, I just went out there. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone woke up excited. But I went to the Gunslingers game, which was an experience. Yeah, they actually the tickets ended up being at no cost, but the game was fun. My kids enjoyed it. I mean, it's a good family experience. Definitely something I recommend. But yeah,
How long does it usually take? Time wise, for the whole game, a couple hours or?
It was about 3.5 hours, 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
3.5, 4 hours about there. Yeah. And then they make it really family friendly. Like there's a t-shirt. They have little games for the kids to play, like, similar to like a Spurs game. They kind of treat it the same way. And it's pretty neat. People like a mascot firing off like a pop gun. It's pretty cool. They make an experience.
Royce, how are you?
Exhausted. Tired. I got beat up by the sun yesterday. I was annually I helped put together a charity barbecue for the Boys and Girls Clubs and the Salvation Army. And, for some dumb reason, we did it in June. And this June, it decided to be triple digits every day. So I'm tired.
Rafa, how are you?
Good, just here enjoying the great match between Cyprus and Northern Ireland for the Nations League.
Real barn burner there, huh?
Yeah, Cyprus winning 2-0. That's a surprise.
Royce, I was going to give you. Well, actually, we'll start with the initial thoughts of the week here. Rafa, any initial thoughts that you got? Covering anything, whether it's SAFC, soccer related or anything just in general?
Just, looking forward with, the new signings that we did this week and with Samuel and see how he was going to do. It was either going to start or play this Saturday, which we did, which we'll cover in a bit. So that was I was looking forward to for this week. And just a bounce back from that loss from Sacramento, it's just a tough. We just couldn't get anything going. So, but it was a barn burner of a game yesterday, which we'll get into in a bit.
Royce, any thoughts? Initial thoughts of the week. No matter open topic-ish.
Yeah. Obviously, I still have a little bit of congestion. I'm still getting my voice back and everything from the flu from a couple weeks ago. So it's good to be back on. Good to be good to have all you listeners listening. From the Sacramento game, it didn't look like we could get a lot going because we didn't dominate the midfield like we normally do. And that's because we had two normal midfielders, PC and Maloney, out on the wings because Shannon was gone and I guess TG was unavailable. So that kind of hurt us. And then in the midfield, you had three guys that hadn't really played that much together: Abu, Nikki, and it was Delim, right? It was Jordy in the middle.
Yes.
So we just couldn't really get anything going, and that lack of chemistry combined with we couldn't connect the front with Loera and the big two, the Twin Towers up top. So it just we couldn't get anything going. Defensively, we're okay. We just got undone by a set piece, which is going to happen. It happened in RGV as well, and we just need to pay more attention on set pieces. So, but that's it. and then we'll talk about going into this match and kind of how they needed to avoid a losing streak, and what they did to not really help themselves in the beginning.
So I was, the second topic, was going to be your thoughts on the SAC recap, which you already, SAC Republican game. Your thoughts on Sam Adderin, him coming in from Sounders on loan?
Well, my number one thought was I was wearing my stinking new player signing socks that SAFC gave me because my other ones got a hole in them, and I just decided to wear them on a random Thursday or Friday whenever I wore them, and I got the tweet alert, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! These things are magic. This is amazing." It's pretty obvious what Marcino wants up top. He wants a tall striker who has ball skills. You have that in Bailone. You have that in Coutinho, Dylan, Collier, and now Aldiron. We'll see how he does. Looked good yesterday. Played well, combined well with JD. So looks good so far. That's a heck of a debut.
So we'll start with you here, Robert. Next topic was injuries. Carter Manley still out. Two surprises: Kamari and Collier out. To go with Shannon Gomez, which we're going to play his assist here momentarily, and then of course Fabian Garcia out with the red card versus Sacramento, the two yellows. Any thoughts on, Manley's been out for a while, but the surprise additions of Kamari and Collier, because they were not on the injury list that gets submitted out. I think it was Thursday when Kevin and the SAFC communications team sent that out. We'll start with you, Robert. Your thoughts on Kamari and Collier being out?
That phrase right there just haunts my dreams. But I think Kamari and Collier, in my opinion, might have been something where they had a little knock. Let's give them a rest. Let them recuperate, on such a long stretch of road games. Let's get back home. And we have the players that are they're so versatile that, with Maloney can drop back. There's they felt confident that they could substitute enough, quality in the back line to offset maybe how giving them a rest. But overall, like I said, I wasn't extremely worried. And it was a good chance, to see some new players too. See what they can do, give them a chance to start, give them a chance to, prove themselves. So that way, later on down the line when we need them, now they have some game experience, and they're working with the guys, getting some cohesion.
Your thoughts, Rafa?
Yeah, I was so surprised with Kamari and Collier being out. But that makes me also kind of question now is how, with Sam being signed, does Collier have a serious injury? Does that, go hand in hand for him being signed this week? But like I mentioned, we did need added depth at the forward position. So now we have, like I said, we have 5, and hopefully, like I said, we can have any combination up front. But I'm hoping that Collier will be back, hopefully for next week, and we'll see. Maybe we'll have a 3-headed monster. We'll maybe go to a 3-4-3 in the next game, and to kind of showcase the 3-4s we have. But hopefully, I think Robert's right. Maybe Kamari is probably a little dinged up a little bit, and he's been playing a lot of minutes since he's come back. So I think it's probably like a little rest day for him. And then hopefully, like I said, Carter Manley, we definitely need him back healthy, because he did an excellent job the first few games he was starting, and that way, like I said, once we get into the meat of our schedule, we'll have him ready to go.
Your thoughts, Royce?
Yeah, Manley and Kamari are difference makers for sure, especially when you have, Taintor has been arguably the MVP of the season, but with him next to Dalim, who they haven't played a lot, and they didn't look bad. I've seen worse. I've seen players that have played this entire season together in the back be worse. But at the same time, they didn't have a lot of time to build chemistry. And it was interesting seeing them in the 4-4-2 which is the alternate. It's always the alternate formation for Marcina, right? They're either in the 3-5-2 or they will be in the 4-4-2. Those are the two formations we've seen the last couple years under Marcina. Actually, I guess this is his third season, isn't it?
Yeah.
As far as players go, I mean, missing Kamiri and Manley, it doesn't help. And what we're really kind of hurting on, obviously, is center back depth. And you're talking about forward depth. We have plenty of forward depth, and we showed that. What was it? 4 of the 5 got playing time. Got significant minutes in this match, and they all made significant impacts in this match, which is great. I mean, that's crazy to see. Normally, you have one striker that's hot, and everybody else needs to catch up. You had 4 guys play really well in the midfield. That's a big thing. We dominated the midfield, but the problem is that I don't think Monterrey really cared about the midfield at all. I think they were more worried about the wings and getting crosses in, and that's what they were doing successfully. So it was interesting to see that our fullbacks tucked in too closely a lot. They were tucking in too closely to the center backs to help them out. So Monterrey had all sorts of joy on the wing. So that's something to look for if we continue this 4-4-2, or we'll see we'll see if it really was like a rest day for Kamiri. Kamiri obviously made the trip, so maybe he had a little injury in training and he didn't feel 100%. Obviously, Manley's coming back. It was good to see Diouf and Patino off the injured list and in the squad. That was great to see because they'd been out for a little while. And then who else was on the? Obviously, Fabian was out. Collier, he's played every single match thus far. He's played every single match thus far. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. Hopefully, none of the injuries are serious. Hopefully, everybody gets back. It's the first couple home games, so you need that depth. So we'll. It'll be very interesting to see on Tuesday who starts against Atlético San Luis.
We say we don't have depth. We were out three of our starting center backs. Manley, Kamiri, and Garcia with the red card. So to me, like I said, I think we have the depth that showed being 3 down. Which is what forced the change in the lineup, because I don't think we had a third center back, and the alternatives, the 6th one would be Holt, and of course he's playing in League 2. Rafa, your thoughts on the lineup? Your initial, we kind of talked about what SAFC would do, and I think you did mention in 4-4-2. I'm not sure it was lined up this way with Larrera and Hernandez, Adrian and Dylan, but your thoughts on the formation and coach's selections?
I think with the central mid defenders out, we had to go to that back 4. I know he probably didn't want to do it, but it's just what what players he had available to play that, So. And then, like I said, with Maloney playing on the outside defense, so it's a natural position for him. So it was just Trade was going to be was he going to be able to handle that position, which he was. But the funny thing is when we play in this formation, you have Luna and Nicky on the outside, but during the game they pretty much played central the whole time. Really didn't really have anybody on the outside. And like I always mentioned, we kind of got killed a little bit on the wings because that formation they had, they really played like a diamond formation in the midfield, and they just stayed centrally. So that left Maloney and Trade open, on 1v1s on the outside, or they got pushed up, they got caught, on counterattack. So I think that was a gamble Marcino was going to do, and luckily it didn't kill us in the end, So we were able to pull it out. So, but up top, like I said, I'm sure Monterrey Bay was going to have fits with Dylan and Sam up there, especially with their height. So it was a lineup we're probably more not going to see, and I think, like I said, it did a good enough job to pull out the win.
Robert, your thoughts on the lineups? For that here.
Yeah, kind of like piggyback off what they said. I mean, it's not maybe optimal to have Tradori and Maloney playing in that position, because I prefer them to roam up and down and maybe track back on defense, to contribute on offense, and just like Rafa was saying, sometimes it just seemed like they were pushing too far forward, not necessarily maintaining that discipline, realizing they're going to need to track back just as quickly, because they're used to roaming free, or kind of having the ability to go back and forth depending on what the need of the team is. But overall, I'm happy to see, like I talked about earlier, the fact that the versatility, the ability to have players like that can sub in and spot start when injuries arise or call-ups happen, or cheap yellow cards that end up in a red card happen. So it's good to see that. I mean, we say we don't, but we probably have than most teams in the USL. So
I will say what struck me on this game, and I know Royce has kind of talked about it, but I think this was the first match where it kind of really stuck out to me. Didi is huge. The dude is a beast, and you look at with him, with Sam, I was like, oh my goodness, there's just. And he's quick, and you can start to see him starting to get into form a lot better. And I think his second half is going to be a whole lot better than the first half. I'm not saying he had a poor first half, but
I think that's why I predicted that he was going to be one of the center backs, because he is a giant human being. He is very tall, and the same with Jordan Ayumbala. I was pretty surprised. That he, I guess he didn't even make the squad, did he? But he did. He did.
He didn't.
I was surprised he didn't slot in as a possibly a left-sided center back if they're going to try to do the 3-5-2. But Marcina rolled 4-4-2.
So let's get into the highlights here. Of course, this is courtesy of YouTube, USL Championship, and of course SAFC in Monterey Bay for that here. So.
Just having that relationship between your coaches and understanding, I feel comfortable playing in as a right center back, moving into.
And this was a 3:00 kickoff game for Monterey, of all things.
In Seaside, Monterey Bay hosting San Antonio FC. Following up, Hernandez at the back of Robinson. Nicky Hernandez won that illicitly.
This is the goal by Monterey Bay.
And unfortunately, we've seen that before, where SAFC just kind of shuts off after a stoppage in play, and they don't pay attention. Nobody goes and stops them from hitting the free kick. Nobody runs with a player making the run. Yeah, we've seen this before, and it's just about paying attention. It's about staying focused.
And it's not just a SAFC issue either. We've seen this happen quite a bit, where teams get so used to the 30-second delay to get started when a team goes quick, it bad things happen.
And it's just pure determination.
Was there anything Farr could have done there, Rafa? Like, was he in good position?
I think he was in good position, but I think he could have done a little bit better, maybe like an instep towards, one thing about goalkeeping here, where that shot, the percentage of the shot's going to be at. It's not going to be our near post shot. It's going to be our forward post shot there. So I think he could have taken a little chance more to the outside and outside of his, of his left shoulder to creep in and get that shot off, and he would have saved it. But also, we should have been a little on the defense side. There should have been a little bit more pressure to at least challenging that shot. Just try to push him out to the outside. I think if he pushes him, not say push him literally, but kind of move him towards the outside, it would have made that shot a little bit tougher and that angle a lot better for Jordan to get.
Robert, you played goalkeeper as well. Your thoughts on Farr? I know for me personally, and like I said here, I'm couch guy here. to me, I thought he played too much to the near post there, and it left the far post wide open to where he couldn't recover. Now,
Yeah.
the art of that shot, but
I mean, he could have closed the angle ever so slightly. I mean, if you want to get critical, I mean, he could have pushed up and maybe forced the guy to shoot a little bit sooner than he was ready. But I mean, in my mind, like you said, he probably felt that he could recover and cover that on a reflex save on the far post. So he figured that with the angle, the guy was going to go near post. And it's just, it was one of those things. I mean, I don't think it's anything you can
it's a
fault him
good
for,
goal.
'cause,
Just yeah.
I mean, it was a solid shot. I mean, it was a good finish.
That's a good goal. What I think when I saw the play, what I initially thought is I thought Farr was thinking that Delim was going to show the player to the baseline and kind of catch up and stay shoulder to shoulder with them. So the only chance that he was going to get was a near post chance. And at the same time, the most important thing you need to cover as a goalie is your near post. You never want to get beaten near post. That's a sin. So he kind of allowed the far side of the post a little open to try to block off the near post, and the guy just made a heck of a shot. And Delim kind of slowed up right there, and that allowed the chance. So it was just it's just one of those, and you just got to hand it to the player. That's a heck of a shot.
Valesky is a good goal scorer. He's been around for years, and he's done it in multiple years. So, it's nothing against that. And I don't want to sound like I'm being critical of Farr. Just to me, my initial thought was, hey, he was, like I said, I'm armchair guy here.
Yeah,
Dylan could have done better on defending. He could have steered him away, and I think if he steers him away more towards the corner side, that shot would have been closer to the post. So he allowed them to get that little space enough to get that shot off to the far post, because you can see there's a gap. When he's running with him, there's a gap. If he kind of pushes him out, I think he closes that shot. There's that gap right there. If he closes him out a little bit more, pushes him out, Jordan gets that ball.
But as a defender, you have to be careful, as we saw in the Phoenix match here, of impacting the player too much, though. With him in a trailing position, could that have been why Delim didn't really push out like you guys are saying too much, or no?
As long as he doesn't slide tackle, he's fine. I mean, if he can just kind of steer him a little bit, he can move in with the shoulder along, a little bit. This is something I would teach the kids. If you can steer them away to challenge their shot, where they're not comfortable, and then allows it. As I said, it could allow Jordan to really where he's at. He would have gotten the ball, because I said it was where he took the shot. Jordan is, like I said, he's just a step. He's doing what he has to do. He's covering his near post, so the only obvious shot is going to be to the outside, and I think he could have done a little bit better to get it, but still Dylan could have pushed him out just a little bit to close that angle out, and then I think Jordan would have gotten that shot.
But it all goes back to SAFC was asleep. Didn't get set up on the free on the free kick from the foul. So
that was exactly like we talked about in the pregame. This is the chief goal we talked about, letting them in, getting them the momentum in the first 15-20 minutes. I was like, oh gosh, it's gonna be one of those days. like me and Rafa were talking about, do not let this happen, and it happened. So I was like, gosh, here it comes, is my first thought.
But San Antonio does come up with an answer.
Yes.
A Danaran, and it is over the line. It's an own goal. It was saved by Herrera.
From number 99 strong. You never want to see. Obviously, you have players like the Danaran, Dylan. Obviously, you have.
And if you thought Delim's play not cutting off the striker from Monterey Bay was bad center back play.
Yeah, that was
unfortunate.
Situation. You can see there's a space right there.
Who was the assist on that? PC?
Yeah, PC. Yeah, PC with the through ball to Adinaran, and yep. And JD was probably going to be there to finish it up anyway, if it wasn't an own goal. So.
And it is over the line. It's an own goal. It was saved by Herrera.
From number 99 strong.
Good shot though.
You never want to see. Obviously, you have players like the Danaran,
He was
Dylan, that
threatening all
requires just so
game.
much
I was,
attention. It's going
Yeah,
to be
it was a perfect cross and shot because it was just out of the reach of the goalkeeper, and that's what you want. And then
Actually, you know who that was? That the pass was Lorera.
Yeah.
While they're open and vice versa. There's so much attacking power.
Or yeah, was that Lorera or Hernandez?
That's what Lorera.
well, if rewind it back because this one was PC. Rewind it back because we haven't.
Well, no, because
One more,
PC
one more,
assisted on the
one
2
more.
goals.
You never want to do.
No, let's. Yeah, we're gonna have to relive it. Yeah, that's fine.
well, that was the last.
It's Loera. That's a
Loera.
through ball from Loera. You're right. That one's Loera.
Powering ahead, seeking a dinner in.
Because PC does get 2 assists, and we're going to talk about those here in a second. So that was a hell of a pass by Lorera.
From number 99 strong.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
you never want to see. Obviously, you have players like the dinner and Dylan that require just so much.
And then this one off the interception right there. Pretty sure it's a boo to PC, which Abu and PC in the midfield. I mean, what else is new? Them dominating a midfield and finding a through ball.
Yep, Abu,
You leave, call her open and vice versa.
PC,
There's so much attacking power for Coach Marcino.
and then the chip.
Ball ahead, chip in.
Geeky. It's just that's nice.
How much confidence does it take to do that? Just out of curiosity, because we see a lot of players that'll do power, or and try to play. The chipping it, and I know Mike Watts and Ricky, I forget what his last name is. Talked about how Dylan's super confident, and right now, that was his 5th goal of the season, and all 5 of his goals have came in the last 7 matches. So he is an in-form goal scorer right now here. So, Rafa, your thoughts on Dylan's assist and his chip?
That was a sweet goal. I mean, just the placement. Because that keeper was he cut off his near post angle just to get it over him. He, like I said, you could have powered that shot, but I think that was the right shot to take was that little chip because he caught that goalkeeper. If you can see like on the angle there when it goes there, he got a great run there inside to get inside. You see the keepers are pretty much a dead duck there, and to get him on the chip. And I think that goalie was not expecting that. He was expecting probably a low power shot. And then right there, you can see him. He's surprised by that, and he had no chance.
Yeah, it's like, he's got the crap.
Had no chance on that one. So
that
could be a goal of the week for Dylan, possibly. We'll see.
Well, had the game winner not happened, I think it would have been a goal of the week. But I think the game winner is the contender from this one, and it's Ricky Lopez was on the call with Mike Watts.
Your thoughts, Robert?
Well, the big thing on the goal, I mean, it's the class play, but looking at the bigger picture, the momentum swing.
Can't teach that.
Yeah.
Like any team will always tell you never give up that goal just before half. But for us to play the way we did in the first 15, 20 minutes and then get that goal, and on top of it, the way it happened, it just looks like they had the same feeling that I had earlier. It's like, oh crap, here it comes again. These guys again. Oh gosh, like because that's just pure class. That's beautiful. So,
and we did find out that Chris stepped away for 5 minutes, which allowed the goals. For that here. So thank you, Chris, for your sacrifice.
and I hope he made what would have been the proper sacrifice, and he just stayed outside for the rest of the game because it worked. I'm here to tell you, it worked.
All right.
Cross here that's cleared as far as
Gleedle with a hell of a pass there. And a save. Save of the week.
Yeah, no, there's your save of the week. I haven't seen the rest of the games, so we'll see. But that is that's top. That might be save of the month.
Better save from far.
That's Corton-esque.
Goes the right hand side like a cat.
When they say like the cat-like reflex.
To keep it out, boy, is that close.
That was going in. If you can see that was going in, and just the last second to get that hand to drop.
No, for sure.
And then a little bit unlucky on this one.
Donor crossing in front, it's in.
If you're joining the line, you need to make
But it was
a play
it
on
was
it.
an earned
You have
goal
the
by
left
Monterey
around
because
behind
they
you.
had the
Don't
momentum.
touch
They
it.
were
Easy
pressuring.
tap in for number 10 there.
It's like they always say, you dump it in the center and things can happen. Like any sport, you just put it in the mixer and then it could bounce the player. It could bounce, lucky bounce to your guy. The more you put it in the mixer.
To overeat.
I didn't go far enough. Went the wrong way here.
Whoops.
We're not Kaler's hammering down show.
Oh, yes. Hammering way down.
Good ball in from Guido.
I will say I was kind of surprised Gleedle was playing that far forward. But it was good to see.
Gleedle has a speed to be really deadly on a counterattack, so you understand it from Yallop's point of view that our defense is gonna stay there. We're gonna stay in a fairly low line. Just have Sam go out and just have him use his speed kills. I get it.
Yeah, that first 15, 20 minutes, he saw a lot of that stuff. But it seems like he adapted to it, or like he noticed that was happening because they're dumping balls over the top. And then after that, it just switched.
On this goal, is there anything that we did wrong defensively? Because there's a lot of space. Did we get?
Yeah,
I think this is where you guys were that we were too sucked in.
Yeah, that's what this is exactly what I was saying.
You got all four of them right here.
Right. The fullbacks are too tucked in. That's it. This is the prime example of, hey, we don't normally play in a 4-3 or 4-4-2. This is your prime example. Your fullbacks are way too tucked in. Look at all the space. The guy has the entire outside of the box plus some box to put a cross in. No one's putting pressure on him. Right there at the corner of the box with how far back the back line is, that's where that outside left side winger needs to be putting pressure on him, and then the fullback needs to be waiting on him if he decides to advance further. Instead, I think your left winger is right there in the middle with PC and Abu being right next to each other. So that's the issue right there is defensive setup, and that's kind of what happened here. Troy Ore tries to follow him, does what he can, but still doesn't put pressure on the cross. Delim is about 2 inches from making a really nice play, but unfortunately, whenever you hit the underside of the post, the crossbar, it's going to go one way or another, and it went the other, and it went the bad way.
Yeah, and we've seen that with Tainer. It seems like he has one of those once a year where it's just, you try so many clearances, one of them unfortunately is going to go awry. Your thoughts on the second goal, Rafa?
I think he could have made. I think he reacted a little too late on that clearance, and that's why it caused that own goal. If you look at his body, he wasn't in the right angle to clear it, and really should have tried to clear it back to the outside instead of try to clear it over the box. If he kind of steps into that ball, you see how his body, he's already kind of like in a bad angle. Yeah, he's reaching. If he moves forward to it and clears it out to the outside, then there's no goal. But since he's doing that, that angle there, I know he's trying to probably clear it out of over the bar, and that's kind of like a little no, because that was the end. Like I said, the end result was the own goal. I think had he had better position, I think he would have cleared that out.
And Jordy's mainly a defensive midfielder, right? So this is him stepping in. Yes, he can play it, but it's not his natural position. So for that here. But
if you're joining the line, you need to make a play on it. You have Valesky flirting around behind you. If you don't touch it, it's an easy tap in for number.
And I think there's even some confusion there with Jordan too. Like they didn't really talk there.
Yeah, that's what that like. Is he coming out? Is he not? So it's like they're both kind of halfway committed. That's what it looked like when you were saying that.
And then the play here.
Really push up the
oh yes,
Beckford with some skills.
Ball brought down.
The street wall pass.
Wow, team goal. So beautiful.
Santiago Patino.
Yeah, if we can consistently do that, yeah, watch
He's
out,
waited
USL Championship
months for this moment. He's put
for
San
sure. That
Antonio
was
ahead.
a crazy sequence. I mean, Beckford just keeping it alive over there on the wing to PC to Traore back to PC, and then PC to
Yeah, Beckford's skill here is what
Crazy.
starts the play. How he gets around the two players.
Believe yourself.
Yep.
Beckford.
So do you think PC knew where he was going when he tapped it off, or
That's the obvious. That play right there, it's obvious. He knows
Yeah.
he's going to make a run inside. So it's an obvious ball pass opportunity. Because
That's
you
a
see the
training ground.
defender there.
He
See
got
the
sucked
defender
up?
there. He's got to make a choice. He got sucked. Well, he has to go to the ball. Now the guy behind PC, he made a mistake. He should have stayed with PC, but he got sucked into the ball as well, which allows that little wall pass there,
Beckford.
and then the cross into the middle.
this
So
is the guy
he's got- yeah.
that made the mistake, right?
Well, really, the mistake was the guy behind PC.
Oh,
He needs to stay with PC. The other guy, the other defender top, that's natural. He has to cover that pass.
you're talking.
And
this guy here.
so you see how he gives that space to PC right there on that wall pass. And it's just a academic right there.
PC, the return in front. What a goal! And what a return! Santiago
Hell of a goal, though.
Patino.
And if you watch 19 from Monterey Bay, he makes a mistake by coming out and trying to put pressure on Traore, and then he gets nutmegged on the pass. So yeah, that's not a good sequence from 19 to get nutmegged and to be out of. Oh, buddy, you feel for him. You hate to
For
see
this
it.
moment, he's put San Antonio ahead.
PC steps up.
And obviously, welcome
Oh,
back,
yeah, you're
Patino. Patino,
Should play.
he was out for a couple months. He came back in the Austin game in a very intense match and re-injured himself. He was out
Gets it
for
better than
another
Pat Green.
almost 2
About a
months,
month,
and
yeah.
It'd be silly frustration.
come back and made an instant impact and had the game winner. It's awesome.
Just to see the emotion on his face, like how much it meant to him just to be back out there, and that's confidence booster. That's what you need. I mean,
From Frank Gallo.
And how much it
He's
meant for the
excited.
rest of the team. How much it meant for
Yes,
the rest
they
of
were all
the
fired
team.
up.
I
Yes.
mean, yeah.
yes. After the game, they were
And then-
posting all that, like about mentality monsters
Yeah.
and how he's a prime example of it. He fought through all that, and he's there now. That's
Well,
good.
if you remember when in the beginning of the Marcina reign, Marcina made an example of Patino as basically a mentality monster whenever he was on the
Yeah.
hat trick, and he made it
That
what was
sliding
it,
tackle, right?
Yeah, like the 85th minute, he made an 80-yard sprint down the field to make a sliding tackle in a game, a goal-saving play. Like, he was the first, quote, mentality monster. And that's also why they brought back Taintor, is the same thing, mentality monster. They're showing it. I mean, they're absolutely showing it every game. And that kind of chemistry and that kind of effort is infectious. And that's why this team has been so dang successful. Is that?
And of course, it wouldn't be a USL game without some shenanigans. So we get to the shenanigans part. Bam.
Oh gosh.
Roberts.
Clear yellow. Clear.
Just make a
I mean, it
crossbody
may have
check.
even been dogs, though. It may have been last defender. So I mean, that could have been
I think
just a
it could have
straight red.
been.
From the center.
It
Well,
should
it
have
was
been
already on a yellow, though. That's why you got the red
Oh,
card.
that's why he got the yellow, exactly. But
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying
did.
it could have been a straight red. I think Roberts
He
is the
is
last
technically
defender.
right there. You see, he's the last
Yeah,
defender there.
He's the last defender.
Yeah, he
That's
is.
a
From the center
dog
back of
so.
Monterey Bay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he
He's
gets
heading to an early
like
shower.
a 3-game ban from that,
How much
because
time
it's
is
dog
left here?
so. It's
We've gone a
denial
full
of goal
minute over. The referee
goal scoring
throws his hand
opportunity.
up. San Antonio's
That's
gone
a
on the road.
classic red card
They come from
offense.
behind to win it. And Patino, the winner.
There is one other play that I do want to bring up. And this is via Twitter, via the Concacaf Nations League here. This is the assist by Shannon Gomez.
Oh man, yeah,
Players in the field featuring in the St. Vincent and Grenadines.
We just need him to do it for San Antonio.
Is headed home. Levi
oh gosh,
Garcia.
yeah. I've actually watched a couple of these games, and he's dangerous in most of them. Even in that one where it's in a monsoon and it's like a power outage. I was like, yeah, he's actually.
Who has a better field, the Atlanta 2 or there?
Oh, dude, I know our pitch was bad.
And it's the sandbox.
But it's not. It's dirt. Ours at least had
sandbox doggy.
It's bad. So post-game notes from SAFC communication team Kevin Bass for it here. PC assisted on Dylan's goal. That was his second of the season, and second in the last 3 matches. And both of his assists has gone to Dylan. This was the first time in USL League play that SAFC was able to get the win after going down when a team scores first. Of course, Jordi Delem and Samuel Adrian made their first starts. And, PC's goal was his third. And the best news of all, SAFC, when they score, they're 10-0 on the season. So it's not a bad place to be. Man of the match. SAFC went with Santiago Patino.
Which
he's probably not. He's probably not my top 3.
It's the full story. It's him coming back. It's him coming back after injury, and then scoring that goal. And you understand it. It's the emotional thing.
I understand.
He deserved
that,
it.
but...
You get it. But so let's do this. Let's do this. SAFC's player of the match was Santiago Patino. Awesome. Congratulations, Santi.
Well, that's why I went SA Roundtable Man of the Match.
What are our individual? So, Harry, you started. Who is your man of the match in this match?
Mine was PC. I thought he orchestrated the offense brilliantly. And of course, he always does, the PC stuff here. But I thought it was PC. For that here, but it would have been my man of the match. Robert, who was yours?
I'm leaning towards Justin PC Patino. Like all of them together. There wasn't one. All 3 of them kind of deserved it on certain levels. They all showed flashes, but I
like hockey. Like hockey, those are your 3 stars of the match.
First star, second star, third star.
Yeah. Co man of the match. I'm riding the fence. No, but the PC is just because of the heart and spirit and just the attitude he brings to the team too. It's like not just the that he makes, but if you watch him tracking back, just the little things that may not show up on a stat sheet.
Rafa, yours?
Dylan was the whole game. He did score. Patino was a good story. Mentality monster thing, but
I'm gonna go with 2 kind of a PC and David Lorera. I think David Lorera really, if you watch the game, he really opened up our offense, and he really, especially the passing, and that's always something where we're kind of lacking a little bit, that attack. I think he made, even though we were down, that first goal that we scored, it was a lot to do with him really being aggressive. So those are my 2 men of the matches, PC and Laurel. Yeah, because he's really influenced this game.
Yeah, he was showing some creativity that we were lacking. That's the big thing. It's like, for sure. He had a good flash there for a good spell.
Yeah.
Royce, your man of the match, or men of the match, I guess, if it's more than one.
It's Patino. What are we talking about here? Let's move on.
Well, obviously, we disagreed with that. All right, so moving on to the next topic here. The friendly Tuesday night, 8 p.m. If you're a season ticket member, it is get your second get in free card for outside of USL League play. Rafa or Robert, tell us a little bit about San Luis, or pardon me, Atletico San Luis of Liga MX and what you expect.
This should be an interesting, fun game. I mean, they're not one of the top teams in Liga MX. I know they finished towards the bottom, but they do have an association with Atletico de Madrid, so they do have some type of player changes with the younger guys. They got promoted in 2019 to Liga MX, so this should be a good one, especially for our younger players, or our newer players, the bench players aren't getting time. This would be a good test for them to see where they're at. Marcina can use this as an emergency stick as far as who I kind of depend on, putting in from coming off of the bench. I know they played last night. They lost to Houston Dynamo 1-0, so it's going to be, I think for us, I think we have a good chance to win this game. It's going to be a competitive game, so should be fun.
Any thoughts, Robert or Royce? I don't have much on. I don't follow Liga MX a whole lot. It's, to be honest with you, up until last week on the show when Rafa said, "Hey, the tickets are in your thing there." I didn't have plans to go, to be honest with you.
I talked to one of my buddies who's a big Globo Medica fan, and it's not Rafa, believe it or not. And he said that Atletico San Luis has a striker that Globo Medica has been looking at to sign. Apparently, he looks like he's 30 or 40 years old, but he's only 22 or 23. So that's what I
Diego
heard.
Luna of Liga MX.
Pretty much.
Diego Luna.
So that's what
Luna.
that's what I was told. That's the information I was given, and that's the scouting I was given. Is, they have a really good striker. He's like 22 or 23, but he looks twice his age. I'm like, okay, sure.
Any comments, Rafa or Robert?
Like I'm with you. I don't know a ton about that team. I just know you can expect probably some chippiness, just in general terms. I mean, they play with a lot of emotion in the league, and
it's number 7
of, like hard fouls and a lot of contested challenges. But hopefully, it's not like last time where there's a little bit of over the top chippiness. So it's a good game, good chance to have our players come off the bench to show some stuff, get some experience. So,
like Royce mentioned about that player, his name is Germán Bertarame. He's from Argentina. For the season for Atletico San Luis, in 90 appearances, he's got 31 goals. So I think that's what they're saying. And he's only 23, so he's probably, like I mentioned, about being under the radar for Club America, because I know they are looking for a striker to add for the season.
So Matt brings up a good point. We need people in the bunker. My question is I wonder what the attendance for this game will be. The good thing for SAFC is they haven't been home in forever. So if you wanted to go out and see Toyota Field, this would be a great time to be able to do it. But your thoughts on, and I'm going to direct this to you, Rafa, because you have a pretty good pulse. Atletico San Luis, you think they're going to bring fans to the match, or do they travel well, or are they one of the kind of newer teams? So it'll be a little bit thin compared to Santos or other teams.
I think this will be a little thin. I mean, they don't have the same reputation like Santos or Rayados, or like last year we had a lot of Puma fans, and it was kind of similar to when we played Querétaro, because Querétaro doesn't really have a big fan base. Well, not anymore now, because after this season, they might be they're going to be somewhere else. Maybe here, but like I said, you'll maybe have some athletics, because you have some people from San Luis Potosí, so here living in San Antonio, so they may go to the game to cheer them on and so forth. But it's a good experience to watch a Liga MX game. It's something different, and regardless if it's a friend or not, we need to be out there. We need to still pack it up and still cheer our team, for this game.
So up next on Saturday, the 18th, is our first home league match since April 30th due to the Colorado Springs match being rescheduled. We face Oakland Roots, who are a team that you do not want to leave the door open because no USL Championship this season has scored more goals, which they've scored 12 in the final 15 minutes of the game. For that here, so that final final 15 minutes, will be a test. RGV was up on them 2-0 last night, and unfortunately, Oakland came back and got the tie at home. I was listening to Edson.
Well, it was unfortunate for RGV. For us, it was fine.
It was. I laughed at it.
They have the leading goal scorer, don't they? Don't they have the guy leading the golden boot? What's his name? Clausen or something like that.
Yeah, they're number 10. Yeah, I believe so. I'd have to look up who the goal scorer is. But they're a team that when RG was Carlson, he has 10 goals. Next to him is 8. Second is Vassal, Trejo, Gudrum, and Pino from Miami. Well, there's several that actually have 7. But yeah, he's got a 2-goal lead as far as for the Golden Boot along those lines here. So he's a big guy as well. Oakland in the standings is currently 8th, 1 point out of the playoff spot at 20 points. Phoenix is in 7th at 21. They have played 16 games, so that they will officially be halfway through their season. Because it's a 34-game season, so this will be their 17th match. They've scored 24 goals, allowed 23 goals. However, they are on a 5-game unbeaten streak with 3 wins, 2 draws for that here. So it'll be interesting to see how San Antonio comes out. One thing that we didn't talk about in the Monterrey match was Nicky Hernandez came right. I think he's the one that came off with the injury. Because he was the second one off. He signaled to go out, so hopefully it's nothing serious. But any initial thoughts? I may try to see if I can reach out to the Roots, a podcast. I forget the name of it off the top of my head here. I know they've got a couple of them, but the Roots podcast, to see if they can do a kind of a preview show later in the week here. But any thoughts on Oakland in the upcoming match?
I mean, just similar to Monterey Bay, like don't give up a cheap goal, don't give them any confidence, and then like you talked about, just close out the game, get the lead and close it out. And the biggest thing is having Tio Garcia back there. He's almost like an additional field general to command. He's the one like kind of almost giving the signals in that particular area of the field. So that's going to be huge, outside of the fact that he's pretty dominant in this position. So getting healthy again, and hopefully Kamiri can come back for that game, and then we get that solid back line, get a goal, get a couple goals, get 6 goals if we have to, and then just close it out. Don't give him any confidence.
Any thoughts, Royce or Rafa?
Just the same thing, like we piggyback Robert. We need to get a lead because we can't. Like I said, you saw how RGV choked. We can't do that. But it's going to be, like I said, are they going to be, it's a long flight because they are playing New Mexico this week on Wednesday.
Yes, on Wednesday.
So they're going to have a dogfight with, going, from that, going to play with us and then flying in. And then also maybe they won't be used to the heat because the heat's been a factor, because it's going to be probably be near 100 degrees by the game time, and Oakland may not be used to that. So I know we are. So that could come into a factor first, fatigue in the game.
I was thinking that with Monterey played their game at, 3:00. If we had a game here, everyone would melt. I was like, holy crap. That was my first thought. I was like, man, imagine here.
They played a nice cool 73 degrees there in Monterey.
Yeah, I was like, man, we would just die. then imagine on turf. Oh God.
And don't forget, this is the first 8 o'clock match for the summer, so they did push it, and so is the friendly with Atletico San Luis is at 8 o'clock, which is the first one here. Any thoughts that you have on the Roots before we switch to Concacaf and USA and Mexico's multi-goal wins in Nations League there, Royce?
Yeah, I mean it's good to be playing two teams that play very similar methods back to back. We'll see if the lineup is different, if we roll the same lineup, if those are the same players that are available. We'll see. But as of right now, the wrench inside the gear in this one is going to be Tuesday and what happens Tuesday. So we'll figure it out and we'll see who gets healthy and we'll see who's available. But it's good to have basically similar game plans if you're on Marcina's coaching staff. You have very similar game plans between Roots and Monterey, and you can kind of go in that with the same mentality. You don't have to completely change things up. So that's good. So we'll see. We'll see how they go and just watch the counters. That's the big thing. Watch the late counters late in the game.
Rafa, we'll start with Mexico, the second place team in CONCACAF for that here. Your thoughts on Mexico's week? They beat, was it Suriname? 3-0.
I can see that they made a lot of changes. They have a lot of younger players on this squad. They had a good start. I mean, they scored in the first 3 minutes, but then they kind of just failed, kind of generate a little more opportunities. They had plenty of opportunities to score. But there were some bright spots to get, some of the younger players. Linus needs to start. I think they need to. He was just running circles around Suriname. He was creating a lot of great chances. It's a shame that Real Betis doesn't play him more. They need to sell him. They need to sell him to PSV or Ajax.
Or San Antonio.
That's the itty bitty guy, right?
Yeah, he's going to end up probably back with Club America. So, but he's very dangerous on the ball. I mean, he creates chances and all that. And he causes problems as far as once he's in the box. Another debut was Marcelo Flores, the product from Arsenal. He had a good game. Great passing, great dribbling. The only setback is he missed a PK, and I think he was taking that hard, but you just got to go look past that. But overall, it was a little better game. I know they played the game actually in Torreon, Coahuila, which is Homo Santos. Not a big crowd, but it's like I said, they wanted to try something different, be out, play somewhere else besides the Azteca. So, but they do have a tough matchup against Jamaica. Jamaica always plays them tough, so that's going to be. We'll see how they go. Hopefully, they can pull out a win there and move on.
Royce, your thoughts on the FC Dallas show up in Q2 Stadium where USA men's national team started late but rolled Grenada?
I mean, let's be fair. It's Grenada. It's not the top talent. They have some, they have decent players that play in internationally, at least in lower divisions, but it's not that,
they're 180th ranked
level with the USMNT. Same thing with Suriname and Mexico. That's not close to competition and talent. They did what they needed to do. I know people are gonna blow up Jesus Ferreira's 4 goals. A couple of those finishes were really good, and you move on.
He had a couple that he should have converted as well. So
that's kind of the story. He helps out a lot in the midfield. His runs are incredible. He just needs to put the finishes together, and that's that's where we're at, but they got the job done, and that's the important part. Mexico and U.S. got the job done in Nations League. Move on to the next game.
Any thoughts on the CONCACAF Robert?
Yeah, like it was a good opportunity for them to play an opponent that had some. I mean, they were decently athletic, and then moving a lot of interchanging like younger parts just to see who fits where. Yeah, Ferrer had one or two really nice. I mean, the one on the corner. I mean, that was pure class. That was a nice play that they set up in the training ground, and the way he finished was amazing. But they're still struggling to find that true goal scorer that they can rely on consistently. I mean, let's be honest, most teams are. So he could be that person, and he's showing progress towards getting that. So I think that's a big thing, is the confidence, not only in himself, but the team has confidence in him to actually be that person when it matters. It was a good game. I mean, they dominated the scoreline, got carried away towards the end when Grenada kind of gave up. You could see they were broken after 2-3 goals. So, but in the beginning they were playing him tough, and it was a real competitive match. They didn't have any real amazing chances that I noticed, but like I said, it's on to the next. I mean, on to the next.
Yeah, next for the United States is El Salvador, and next for Mexico is Jamaica. Next scheduled match will be against Wales on November 21st in the opening of World Cup, but I do know that on the game they did mention that there's going to be some friendlies between now and then that haven't been announced. I think a couple over in Europe. I have a feeling probably the same thing with Mexico.
Yeah, we got Brazil. And that's a possibility. Maybe if Brazil comes, I think the U.S. might play them too. Usually they'll do that like what they did with Uruguay.
Yeah.
And pre-match, we were, or pre-show, me and Rafa were talking about having the South America teams, in this Nation League. Obviously, from a competitive aspect, everybody would love to see it. Is that something that you could really see happening, though, Robert?
I mean, it's a possibility, like the competitive nature of it, and then the ability for those teams to come here. I mean, a lot of these players join these things too to have like an indirect, like kind of getaway type vacation to get away from, so they can experience like different places in the U.S. So, I mean, host a lot of the games like in Miami or like somewhere where they'd want to travel. It would be attractive. And then I think unfortunately the root of all things in these particular situations comes down to money. How much are they gonna get paid, or what are the fees, or like that's what it all comes down to. So, but it would be
the money's there.
It'd be much better than watching us play all these Caribbean teams, to be honest. And then learning, as soon as you see a team, then I have to Google where they're located, because I don't know where they. The team that Mexico played, I heard them until they played them. It's just like, oh gosh, where's Martinique? Where's I'm starting to learn all these things. Teach your kids some job.
Where's the British Virgin Islands?
Yeah. We're playing this team right here. It's like a third the size of Delaware. They have 800 people to pick from. But it is.
Final thoughts, Royce, so we can get you out. I know you've got a day with your son. I can tell already. Yep. So.
Yep. Let's move on. Got 2 games this week. We'll see what happens. Let's go SAFC, Mentality Monsters.
Robert, your final thoughts?
LFG, let's go. Home match. Dude, I'm pumped. It's been a while. We need to go back to the Fortress and let them know why it is that. Teach these guys a lesson.
It has been a while.
Teach them a lesson. So,
Rafa, yours?
Just looking at the comments from CJ about the UIL.
Oh yeah, I meant to bring that on here.
Fall semester. I don't think that'd be a good idea by the UIL to move soccer to fall, because it caused too many problems as far as scheduling with competing against high school football.
Where would they play though?
Yeah,
that's the issue. Is they don't have that many fields.
Yeah, they would have to play like the day after a football games. No, I think they need to keep it where it is. It's fine. And also the issue about letting keeping freshmen from playing. Don't do that. If you have a talented freshman that can play varsity, let them play. And then especially with the smaller teams, like you imagine like Hondo or the 4As and some 5As, you have to have some freshmen on those squads to complete your team. So I don't think those things are going to pass. So hopefully UIL really considers not having this for next year. And then also, final thought, about a year ago, Eriksson had that heart attack on the field, and now he's back playing again, playing with Denmark, playing in the APL. So, God bless him. That was a scary scene to see on live TV, and just a miracle for him that he's still here and still playing. So, and a year later, we're glad to have him back. And so that's my final thought, and hope to see you guys there.
He's going to make some money, right? Because he's going to make some money this offseason, because I know Newcastle, they've been in the rumors for it here. So a little bit about the show here. Next Sunday's Father's Day. We may or may not have a show. Most likely, probably will not. I will be going on vacation. I think we're thinking about going to Colorado. Hasn't been finalized yet, but we're going to get out of San Antonio for that here. So show may or may not happen next week. I'll take my laptop so we can try to see if we can do a show at some point before the Colorado Springs match. But with it being Father's Day, like I said, I know Royce is a father, Robert's a father, Rafa, you're a father of us for that here. So love all the kids that you have mentored for that here. So if we don't see you guys next Sunday morning, like I said here, especially if you're father, happy Father's Day. I know it's one of the proudest moments that I have in my life here, and congratulations to Phil Bakke, who just had a child yesterday or Friday. Oh yeah, I think it was Friday.
He's posted the pictures yesterday. It may have been, but yeah, definitely being a father, best thing I've ever done in my life. So absolutely.
So happy Father's Day to everybody. And like I said here, it is hot. So if you have animals, if you can bring them in a little bit, especially in the afternoons, help cool them off, please do. Like I said here, animals are a large part of our family. So we try to bring in, the dogs and let them get a couple hours of relief out of the heat if they are an outside dog for that here. And of course, make sure food and water, especially this time of year, just make sure that they've got fresh water. But thank you for everybody for tuning in. Thank you for everybody that listens on the podcast. What's Life Without Goals? We're out of here.
See y'all.